You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
And joining us in studio, Anne Gonzalez, Manager of Short-Term Mission Training and Engagement in the LCMS Office of International Mission. Hey, Anne.
Thanks for having me back again.
You always bring us great stories, and excited to share a wonderful story of volunteers serving on a short-term team. And this is I think this is a really special one. This one has a long history, this team, right?
Well, the team serving in Poland, I think we're on year 12 this summer. David Fiala was instrumental in getting it started back when he was serving as a missionary in Central Europe. And it's been an annual event where we come alongside and work with our Polish Lutheran brothers and sisters to encourage their outreach into the community.
And so this is Polish, the Poland English Bible Camp team, right?
Correct.
Very good. Well, joining us today, Joyce Kroll is a volunteer who recently served on the Poland English Bible Camp in 2019. Joyce, thanks so much for joining us on the Coffee Hour.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So what got you to sign up to go to Poland for a while and serve on the English Bible Camp team? Why did you sign up?
Okay, well, there's two reasons. The first is to follow my mother's wise words, that if a person wants true joy in life, you should serve Jesus, others, and yourself last. The second reason is because I had several family members who have talked about their experiences going on mission trips. So I always wanted to go on a mission trip, and then after hearing about the short-term missionary trip for teaching children, I was very interested. I'm a teacher. I'm teaching first grade right now, and this is my 38th year of teaching. So,
Oh, wow.
God bless you.
First grade teachers are amazing. I still remember mine.
Well,
She was wonderful, and I'm sure you're wonderful too.
I think you're wonderful that you remember your first grade teacher.
Oh yes,
Aw.
she is a saint now with the Lord. But yeah, she was a wonderful woman. But this isn't my story. This is your story. Your mom was a wise woman. What did you know about Poland? Did you know anything about Poland before you actually stepped foot on the ground there?
Well, the program was very good. They sent us information sheets about Poland beforehand, and they also sent us some basic Polish words. And then the other people on my team, there was a couple on my team who had been to Poland the year before on a Bible camp. So they also answered any questions that I had. So I felt like I was coming somewhat prepared. So,
before you went on the trip, what were you looking forward to? What were your expectations? And perhaps what were the things that you were maybe a little bit anxious about?
okay, well, I've had lots of experience teaching Vacation Bible School, but I had never actually taught English before, so I was a little hesitant about that. And then also working with the translators, but there again, they did a great job of doing it during orientation. They taught us how to talk, slowly so the translators could keep up. And then for me, I wanted that chance to teach English through the Bible stories and to share that love of Jesus both with the children and the translators. I also wanted a chance to make new friends, and I did that. I've got the host family and several of the translators. The vicar and team members are now all Facebook friends with me, so we keep in touch. So that was great.
Very nice. What was challenging about serving in a short-term international setting?
Well, the way to say the first thing was I had never been on an international flight before. So that was nervous for me. But I said God answered my prayers because he sent me an angel that on the first flight from Kansas City to Chicago, I sat right next to a lady who was also going on an international flight. So I was able to just walk right with their family and got me right where I needed to go. Nice. And then the next one on the next flight to go to Krakow, there was a lady who was sitting next to me that could talk some English, and I got my little pronunciation sheet out, and she was helping me pronounce the Polish words the correct way. So I felt like God had his hand in that. But the other thing was just the language barrier. I was a little nervous about that, but found out that a lot of communication can still happen through expressions and through gestures. And then it was also great because most of the students knew at least some English. Mm-hmm. So those are probably my two really worried about, and everything was fine. So
Yeah. Tell us about the kids that you got to teach. Who are these children?
So we had ages 8 through 12. I had the younger ones, so I had 8-year-olds and some 9-year-olds that I actually taught. I would teach the English, and then I would use those English words in the Bible story. But then I was also the crafts teacher. So the way we set up our program was we started out with a opening, and then it was nice because the vicar actually told the students the story in Polish before we divided up into our teams. So they kind of had an idea what was going on. Then we would divide up the kids into 3 different age groups. After I taught the English and taught the Bible story, then they divided up into crafts. It was 3 rotations. They went to crafts, they went to music, and they went to games. So I did the crafts. So I did the crafts for all age children. And they were great. They were very well behaved for the most part. There's, of course, some, and every time there's always some that are going to push the limits a little bit during the opening or closing exercises, but for the most part, they did very well.
So you were using the universal language of crafts.
Yes.
Arts and crafts, the universal language, right?
Yes. I did tell several people that, when we were in opening exercises, there was some English and Polish going on, but the translators were right there. When I taught my lesson, when I taught the English words and the lesson, my translator was right there. And the students hadn't done a whole lot of talking. Then when I had crafts, I still vividly remembered my first experience was I kind of explained what to do. The translator did it, and then let the children just start visiting. And it was like, whoa, these children are not talking English. I have no idea what they're saying. But it worked out well. So,
what was a typical day like? You shared quite a bit of it there with us, but from sunrise to sundown, what was a day like for you on this trip?
Well, we had a wonderful host family, and they always had a great breakfast. They had wonderful breakfast there. They would feed you meat and cheese and things, because typically you didn't have your lunch until like 2:00. So It was a big breakfast. But we would arrive at the church at a decent time so that we could get everything all set up. Then we would have opening exercises. As I said, it was God's gift theme. And so we did different opening skits and things and music to get them started on the day. Then we would divide up, like I said, into our teaching English and our Bible stories. And then we would divide up into our sections. We would break for a lunch, and they'd have a little recess time, and then we'd finish up with our rotations. And at 3:00, about 2:30, we would have an ending devotions of the day and kind of a wrap-up closure type thing, and then we'd send them on their way at 3:00. And then we would work some more at school and getting things ready to go for the next day. And then, like I said, we had a wonderful host family. They got to give us some sightseeing opportunities for the area, so we learned a little bit more about how the people there lived and things that they did. So it was a wonderful experience.
That sounds so great. Where did you see the Lord's work at work during this time in volunteer service?
Well, the Lord's Word was delivered through the Bible stories that we taught. And the God's gifts that we did were the gifts of the Holy Spirit, the gift of teachers, and the gift of faith, joy, and life. His word was also shared by the crafts that we made, and the songs that we sang. We also got to share. We did a hot dog roast while we were there, and of course we had s'mores. So that was fun. We also had the presentation at the Sunday worship service. But also, in addition, I have had the opportunity to share my experiences with 3 different groups and I've also been asked to possibly do 2 more. So I feel like I'm still sharing God's word with others.
Nice.
Thanks be to God. We have important details to share, but I have to ask the most important question. Food. What was, one new food that you discovered that you really liked, or maybe it wasn't your favorite, but one really interesting food that you discovered while you were there?
Pierogies.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Real pierogies.
Yes.
Yes, real pierogies. And they can be both, you can have meat or cheese, or you can have dessert, ones. And so they were wonderful. But they did a lot of soups and stews, and I never had anything that tasted bad. So
Yeah.
I did miss, I will tell you that the very first day of orientation, we were sitting there together, and they had water sitting on the table. So I poured myself a glass of water. It was like, whoa, this is not like the water we have in the USA. And you find out that when you're in Europe, many places in Europe, if you want the water like we have in the USA, we have to ask for still water. Otherwise, it's got the bubbles in it.
Yep. Yep. The things you learn.
And opportunities this year to serve.
2020's English Bible camps will be on the theme of Jesus, who are you, based on the I am statements of Jesus in John. We have the opportunity to send a team to Ukraine in June, or multiple teams either in the last 2 weeks of July or the first 2 weeks of August to Poland. If you want to know more, go to servenow.lcms.org.
servenow.lcms.org. That's pretty easy to remember.
Easy enough.
And
Very good.
we need to hear from people by the end of March so that we can get you going in the process.
Oh, very good. So
Soon.
if you're listening now's the time to go to servenow.lcms.org and start that process.
Correct.
A wonderful story, Joyce. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, and for your service on the Poland English Bible Camp in 2019.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
Thanks, Anne.
Thanks for having me.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.